Father, O Lord, rolling up this, get started. In, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Hold the hands together and thank the palm. A.U.L. palm. 1 minute. Bring it in and out. Out. In. Out. In. In. Come. In. Through. Out. Dispersion. Let's get it good. In. Release. Namaste. Okay. Good morning. Be talking about hexagram 20. That'll be on contemplation. Contemplation on that. Contemplation. Goodies. Rendition there. Hexagram 20 is go on or viewing, to view, such as interviewing, viewing from within. Contemplation. Thinking about things past or present. Contemplation. Happiness. Things. Contemplation. Contemplation. The evolution has been made, but not yet the offering. Full of trust, they look up to him. The wind blows over the earth. The image of contemplation. Thus the kings of old visited the regions of the world, contemplated the people, and gave them instructions. My interpretation. That one, I didn't quite get started on my interpretation. We do have one here. Self-reflection, the contemplation, self-reflection, or what comes to the same thing, the urge to individuation, individuation gathers together what is scattered and malflourished and exhausted to the original form of the one. The one. Okay. The premortal man. In this way, our existence as separate beings, our former ego nature is abolished. The circle of consciousness is widened, and because the paradoxes have been made conscious, the sources of conflict are dried up. So Don Quixote. A lot of conflict along the way. Don Quixote. I'll be talking about Don Quixote and how he internalized things in the wrong way. His contemplation was a little whacked off. And he also had a little guy following him every step of the way. He was learning. It was just the opposite. Just the opposite in idea only. And in their station in life was different. Yeah, Don Quixote. It is. Yeah. Panchos. Okay, we'll get to reading the lines now. Bottom line. It is no disgrace for an ordinary man not to understand exactly what is that gives the superior man the influence that he has. This is only made clear by intensive study and contemplation. That's it. Intensive study and contemplation. That's how he got it. But for a superior man to be unaware of the elements of character that enables him to be a leader that people look up to, draws into question his qualifications for being a leader. To understand why he's a leader. Don't use those tools to deconstruct positive influences. In order for him to fill a position of leadership, he should have a complete understanding of immediate or moral leadership and how what he says and what he does influences others. He must see clearly how his life can be an inspiration and a guide to those he leads. Side note, number one great way to really stay guiding someone is to be the example. What to maintain here we go. One great way to really stay within the margins when leading or guiding someone is to be the example. Be the example. Leading by example is a simple way to maintain non-volatile productivity. Want to just do that, growth. Set an example by maintaining a mindset that reflects his true leadership abilities. Reflect positive outcomes. Shine. Eclat. A man of ordinary abilities is not able to fully comprehend how he affects others by the way he thinks, speaks, and acts. In doing such things, he merely reacts to how outcome circumstance affects him and his own self-interest. He is not quite able to think in a broader context and see how others might think and feel about what he does. He does not judge right or wrong by how things impact upon groups of people, but only how things impact upon himself. In addition, he does not understand what drives another's action and what another's motive might be. Focus on self. Here also, his concerns are all centered around himself. He does not grasp what are the needs and wants of other men. Self-centered, especially if they differ from his own needs and wants. This is sufficient for an ordinary person who need not think of anything beyond themselves and their own immediate concerns. But this is wholly inadequate for a man who is responsible for others, for negotiating with others, and but making decisions that will affect the lives of others. Such a self-centered, inadequate viewpoint can only lead to poor judgments and mediocrity outcome. Talking about efficient and being effective. Yeah, gauging mediocrity. Just half which need to be get done. Okay, we got it here. Again, it affects productivity. And there are personal consequences to be doled out as a result of mismanagement. The same can be said about a game show where the contestant is an American Indian with a question about Rome art being presented to him. What's he know about Rome art? His primary viewpoint about art would be in the form of other things, you know, for other things. With this, we are talking about specialization, such as a specialist in the army. Let's get on that. Keep it clean is the motto of both sides of the equation. If you're looking for wooden shoes somewhere in your mind, what will you think of next? Yes, windmills, Don Quixote, right? Contemplation. Always the right contemplation. Think about wooden shoes, think about windmills. Windmill. Story of Don Quixote. Don Quixote started out reading books. He decided to go out on a quest, be a great knight, but he didn't quite have it all together, including his old horse, old nag, his horse, and his squire guy on the donkey following him around where he mistake windmill for a giant, and after not defeating him, he said that the witches made that a big giant, so we just leave it alone. Go ahead. But he never named it a windmill, in other words, because he didn't know about definition of real things. He never read about a windmill. Eventually, Don Quixote and Sancho leave after learning that a false sequel to the book about him says that he traveled to Zaragoza. Don Quixote decides to avoid that city and go instead to Barcelona, a book already written about it. While in various adventures there, Don Quixote is challenged by the one night of the White Moon, a student from La Mancha in disguise, and he is defeated. According to the terms of the battle, Don Quixote is required to return home. Along the way, Sancho pretends to administer the required lashings to himself, and they meet a character from the false sequel. something that was added, shouldn't be in that book, was added. After they arrived home, Don Quixote falls ill, renounces chivalry. That's what got him out on the OnStar for the adventure, chivalry. He went to defend his lady, honor, doing things, then coming back. But in a way, chivalry is foolish fiction. And he does. So 80% of purpose is in the form of chivalry of some sort. 28 percent of purpose is in the form of chivalry of some sort. 20% over 80. Or is it 80 over 20? I'm thinking 80% of the time, most things are done in the form of chivalry. Foolish fiction. Chivalry. Be aware of the exponential forces behind the ill-informed. Such as Don Quixote. I was a big giant. He was ill-informed. Read a lot of books. Never read about windmills. Okay, it's not a windmill. What is it? Common cause is perception and the value of things. Friendship overall must be final destination. Chivalry, rain calls. St. Augustine has a word on it. Quote, St. Augustine, seeing women when you go out is not forbidden, but it is sinful to desire them or to wish them to desire you. But it is not by thought or passion, feeling alone, but by one's gaze, just looking at them. Also, that lustful desire mutually arises. So he's, rising. Do not say that your hearts are pure if there is animosity of the eye, because the unchastened eye carries the message of an impure heart. And when such hearts disclose their unchastened desires in a mutual gaze, even without saying a word, then it is that chastity suddenly goes out of their life, lose the spirit of promise. Even though their bodies remain unsullied by unchastened acts. St. Augustine, graceschools.org. Same thing with Don Q. His contemplation of things were quite different than that of the way it really is. He didn't have a good grasp of what things really were. Although contemplation is happiness, his form of happiness proves to be vicious, fictitious. I would say as one moves forward, the motto should be, as St. Augustine quoted, all is pure. And Buddha goes on to say, definition of what right concentration in Buddhism, the Pali word translated into English as concentration is samadha. The root word is samadha, meaning to bring together, gather. Okay, let's go over here to line 3. Yeah, New York outcomes. Line 3, ironically enough, a man brings to understanding others by contemplating himself. Not, of course, by thinking only of himself and by his own needs and interests, but by gaining insight into himself and how he is led by his own self-interest, often to the exclusion of considering the efforts that what he does has on others. What he does has others. Missing, huh? When he begins to see in these broader terms, he begins to understand how others are often led by the same self-interest, insights. But he also can begin to understand how others may have certain real needs and interests that their own self-concerns often ignore. With this knowledge, he begins to acquire an enlarged vision of not only himself, but of his place in the world of others. When he can do that, he can make decisions that encompasses the interests of large groups of people. His mind extends beyond himself. He is able to think in more objective terms. Utilitarian terms. He begins to understand that self-knowledge is not really centered on me, but on the place that a person occupies in the world as a whole. With this broader vision, he can see how what he does affects others, and with that in mind, he can tell whether some particular action leads to the progress or setback of those he leads. Lead by example. Yeah, that acts like multi-level apex. If a man line 4. If a man is of such a high inner development that he understands those things that are conducive to the advancement and growth of such societies of men, such a man should be taken in and honored with a position of great responsibility. He is able to judge those measures which are rightly taken, as well as those measures which are not conducive to the general welfare. He should be allowed the freedom necessary to act upon his wise judgment, and should not be used merely for his technical skills and ability to promote policies formulated by others. Punch of the clock. His vision and influence are invaluable, and nothing should be put in his way that might impede his exercising command. Can't be that. Productivity again. Be it efficient and effective. A leader of men should subject himself to careful self-examination via a contemplation, right concentration. And in examining himself, he should not just make a value judgment upon his own motives and acts, but he should look to the effects that he has produced. The opinions and criticisms of himself by himself or by others have little meaning up against the real results of the actions he had taken. Have the results of his own actions been good? Has he influenced others to do things that must be judged good? Has mankind benefited by what he has done? Are the lives of people better for what he has contributed? If so, that he has every right to feel satisfied with himself as a leader and benefactor of men, for it is by the fruits of his own life that he must be judged. Who knows? Top 9. Who knows? Whereas the leader of men look to the results of his action. The sage considered whether his actions are free from evil. The results of the life of the sage occur in the world of the invisible and are not readily discernible by men, but they are infinitely there. Right concentration. It's Buddha. Overview 20 is doing an overview of yourself. Just overview. Internalize invocation. Overview calls for composure and contemplation, As a result of deep introspection, an invisible energy emanates from us, influencing others without their being aware of it. Do not underestimate the power of this force. Like the wind blowing across the treetop, its presence is perceived through the effect it has on everything it touches. Shallow wells rarely strike water. Shallow minds often come up empty. The ability to keep still and deeply observe strengthens resolve and attracts good fortune. Discern the difference between what is deep and what is shallow within yourself, and you will be able to distinguish between the two in the outer world as well. Invocation. During a period between events, the practice of stillness with awareness is beneficial. By mindfulness, mindset, mindful, observing the true nature of things, by apprehending the rhythms and cycles that guide all creations, we can discover and explore the natural laws that rule our lives. Examine yourself and your situation, not just with the thought of discovering truth, but also with the idea of focusing your personal power. This is the time to see and be seen. Shallow thinking, shallow contemplation, not pure, deep power, deep concentration, shrill power. Man almost should always think of others. That's where the good understanding begins. Life leads to thinking of helping others, actions that derive from helping others, results of helping others, concerns about others, thinking of others. Not being like the ordinary man, mediocrity about things, not really taking things serious, disdain thoughts about others. Utilitarian would be the word. Okay. Great uncontrolled force may be directed toward the accomplishment of great works, not by confrontation and direct opposition, but indirectly through influence, persuasion, and wise management. Post that to the blog on July the 26th. Great taming. Great taming. Great uncontrolled force can be directed toward great taming